I'm Russell.
And I'm Leo. This is Spitball. Welcome to Spitball, where three computer file creators and a guest empty our heads of startup and tech product ideas that we have stuck up in there so you can all have them for free. Anything that we say is yours to keep. And this week, Scott, you have a special guest for us indeed.
I do have a special guest. So one of our most popular Spitball episodes we've ever done was the idea for Airbnb for servants. And so, backed by popular demand, our guest this week is none other than its founder, Anthony Bednar. Anthony, a therapist, philanthropist, and entrepreneur, is here to bring us that unique perspective on the human psyche. Welcome, Anthony.
It is a genuine pleasure to be back.
We're so glad to have you.
How many servants do you have on your app now, Anthony?
Look, we really want to protect the data of our employees, so I can't give out that information.
Secret sauce. That makes sense.
I think you had $100,000 in the investment portfolio.
For 10%, I think.
For one servant.
For sure.
Anyways.
I know a lot more about bankruptcy now than last time.
Yeah, right. Every good entrepreneur does, right? This week, inspired by the holidays, my wife and her wonderful family are from Minnesota, and I learned while I was at Thanksgiving in Minnesota that they have a lot of really weird town names all over. These little, like, less than 1,000-person population towns with fantastic names. So, today, to get us started and warmed up, we're going to be playing a game that I'm going to call Metaverse or Minnesota. You just have to tell me if this town name is a real place in the beautiful state of Minnesota or if it is a fictional place in a video game. And, of course, we start, as we do every time, with our guest, Anthony. I want to tell you about Little Canada. Little Canada is where? Is that a place in a fictional video game, or is that in Minnesota?
Is it Little or Lil? Lil Canada or Little?
Little.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of which Canadian province is directly north of Minnesota.
Oh.
And if they would have a lot of immigrants.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm going to say it's from a video game.
It is a suburb of Minneapolis. Scott.
Yep.
Loot Lake. Loot Lake.
That has to be a video game. It's a video game.
It's a hub in Fortnite. You're correct.
Okay, thank God.
Russell. Crystal. Spelled how it sounds.
That's a town.
That's another suburb in Minneapolis. Very good.
Yes.
Anthony. Legion Square.
I'm going to guess video game again.
It's from Grand Theft Auto Online. Very good.
Hey.
Scott.
This week.
Cosmos.
Drink? We're going to go Minnesota.
It is west of Minneapolis. Population of 507.
Wow,
Well
good.
done.
We're doing good,
Yeah,
guys.
you are. Maybe this game's too easy. Russell. Climax.
Oh, God. That's a video game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Not the games I play. That's, of course, right near North Dakota. Population of 253.
Oh.
Climax, Minnesota. The good people of Climax are just happy.
What's the zip code? What's the zip?
69420.
Anthony. Great Pug.
Great
Spelled
pug.
Spelled like the dog.
I'm going to go with video game again. This is like a Nintendogs or something.
It is a VR chat, virtual bar. Very good.
Little pug. Oh,
Yeah.
Dogs.
Scott.
Let's go.
Good Thunder.
No idea. We're going, this is a War Thunder town. Video game.
It is southwest corner of
God, everything
Minnesota.
is a suburb of Minneapolis.
It's not anywhere near there this time. It's a population of 560 right near the border there. Last but not least, Russell, Sleepy Eye.
That is a video. No, it's a town in Minnesota with an optometrist that founded it.
It is in the southwest corner of Minnesota. Well done. 3,600 people, which I think means you're the only one who got a perfect score all the way through. Well done.
Yeah, it's my intuition just doesn't fail me.
No, of course. And I think that means you have to go first, right? Isn't that the way?
Oh, okay. Let's go.
Russell, what do you got for us?
Alrighty, guys. So, as you know, I have kids. And what's hard with kids is you want to listen to your own music, but you can't because it's a little explicit at times. And
That's
sometimes
the hard thing with
yeah, you don't want to like have them start saying like, and there's some subtleties like, you know, what is it? Macaroni in a pot. You know, that's
yes.
I can't like it's not directly inappropriate, but like can we?
That's the worst part of that song. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's my idea. All right, I want to listen to my dirty ass music, but I can't find, I don't want to listen to the Kidz Bop version, or maybe I do, but I just need an AI tool that takes all of my favorite songs or like new songs that haven't hit Kidz Bop yet and AIs it and doesn't like lose its quality. Like, you know, you still got the rhymes, but they're not maybe inappropriate, but have an AI, like even with AI voices, make the song, but kid friendly, right?
Is Will Smith going to rap all of these?
Clean rap.
The good ones, right? So yeah, you just throw in an AI tool, let's say, and I think there's already exist. I mean, it doesn't even be AI. It's like there's like even apps out there that like you can take the transcript, rewrite the words, and all of a sudden it makes it rewrite the audio or something, and now you have a perfectly clean version of Kendrick Lamar's album. But it sounds like Kendrick, you know. That's so I don't know. That's the idea.
So you're picturing like a switch in Spotify, Apple Music, whatever. That's just like the filter, or like it flips it over to clean mode, family friendly mode, but doesn't actually different songs.
Or let's say you have a desktop app that like will listen to the song and just like auto do something with it. Like if Spotify doesn't have that feature, like some sort of third-party tool that allows for it to happen, right? Yeah, or it's its own service, like its own music service. That like, I guess I'm wondering if it like falls under like parody content too. So you might have some like really good. I don't know what the parody law looks like, but like, can you make it like fall under that? And now you have your own Kidz Bop playlist, and you have like literally you take the top 50 Billboard on like Spotify or 100 Billboard on, and you just have your own.
Run it through.
Yeah.
You can prompt it, so you're like, make this song actually about sandwiches or whatever.
So I will say this, Russell. We were driving back from getting a Christmas tree last year, just my wife and I and my 6-year-old nephew. And he was in the backseat of the car, and like The Weeknd came on, and he was just like, Uncle Scott, what is this? Can you turn it up? And like he was just vibing to it. Like it wasn't anything raunchy on there going through. It was just the background beats going through. But he's like, you know, this kid's been listening to Baby Shark his whole life. Like this was just like, oh my God. So I think there's some potential here, Russell.
My 4-year-old loves Daft Punk, and there's some stuff in there that's right on the edge. My 2-year-old loves Blitzkrieg Bop and Ballroom Blitz now. And I didn't even mean for that to happen. It's just, kids are drawn to music that isn't bad. It's just we put bad music in front of them. So like any way that we can get better music in front of these kids, I'm for.
Is there a way that we could package this together with like a Rock Band or a Beat Saber? Like a rhythm game for kids kind of thing?
For the kids, a Fruit Ninja thing. Oh, yeah.
Fruit Ninja meets Daft Punk.
I learned from the McElroy's video game podcast recently about a little console that you can get that's for kids. That's kind of an Xbox Connect, but all in one box, and it has both the games and the camera. You set it in front of your TV, and you jump around the living room playing Fruit Ninja or whatever. This seems like a great game for something like that. That'd be so fun. Doing your Guitar Hero.
And like you can get the latest music on there too. So like, this album just dropped, and now my kid can Fruit Ninja his way through it while I don't have to listen to Baby Shark every day.
Why did Guitar Hero and Rock Band fade out? It had a moment, but why is it totally gone? There's like no way to play unless you're doing modded PS3 games and stuff, right?
Didn't Fortnite just come out with a Guitar Hero variant?
Oh, did they?
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Fortnite Festival.
All the old Guitar Hero stuff is like,
but how do you play?
Expensive.
You can't find it anymore.
Yeah, you gotta get a guitar.
You have to buy it. You have to buy an old Xbox 360 with Guitar Hero and get the old guitars.
That's crazy.
Right now.
So your thing could definitely be a hardware startup too, man.
Just go full Rock Band, kids version.
Kids Rock Band with good music.
I don't think that's just us being nostalgic for it. I really think there's still a place in the modern world for rhythm game hardware.
That was life.
Yeah.
Right. And it wasn't just...
Dude, and kids would love
it wasn't just of its time, I don't think. There's like something really there. How does the Fortnite version work, Anthony? You know?
I have no idea.
Just skins,
You're
I'm
our
sure.
Fortnite correspondent on this show. God damn it.
I'm sorry. Well, I was going to talk to you about a game from the 90s called Audio Surf. Do you remember Audio Surf? You could like upload it was a rhythm game. You could upload your own music and it would auto-create a track for you. If that was possible in like the 2000s, right? We could do this all with like AI could generate you a rhythm game for any song that you upload, right? Yeah. And scrub it to the clean version.
This is a whole console and set, man.
Man. Yeah, and I'm wondering what like if you apply this to like video, can you do that for like movies and TV that's like maybe PG-13 and like cut out? I mean, maybe not there's probably some like, it won't read the video, but like maybe it just takes the audio transcript and
I'm
like.
tired of this Monday to Friday playing
Yes!
the snakes on the
Okay.
monkey flying
waited
plane.
Snakes on a Plane was on Spike TV once, and I waited like the entire movie just to be like, how are they going to say the line? How are they going to say the line? And I was tired of these
Monkey flying snakes.
on this Monday through Friday plane.
Yeah.
No way.
So that's the thing. When you have like a video on an airplane seat or whatever, they'll like dub in other versions. But yeah, AI could make the tone and the inflection and then detect all the curse words, and you just turn on family mode, and all of a sudden that Saw movie is just for kids.
Wait, imagine the headline, AI censorship. That's going to go over great.
Oh, God. You can't even tell it's happening.
It turns the movie into about 4 minutes, but
Saw is 4 minutes long.
Want to play a game?
Play a game? It's really happy.
there's some purists who are not going to be happy with the artist intent implications, I'm sure, but
I'm already upset.
I mean, maybe you could also have a slider. Like, all right, I'm like PG-13 G.
That
You
would
know?
actually be
You're
really
like-
fun to play with.
Does it work the opposite way?
Could you turn it up to X? Yeah.
Make it more explicit.
ads in nudity.
Well, now we've hit the moneymaker, obviously.
What about if you took Baby Shark and you made it extremely raunchy? What is the other way around too?
What would that sound like, Russell?
Finding Nemo rated R. And I think it'd go a little something like this.
Yeah, I don't know. Like Baby Shark, dude. Like dude.
How
Grandpa
sexy
Shark.
can you say do.
I don't think you're allowed to cut that joke, actually.
No, that's staying in.
Mommy Shark. Well, Leo, thanks for that great B segment. What's your idea this week?
What are you doing? So, early on, in honor of throwing back to having one of our first guests back, I also want to throw back to one of my really, really early ideas that actually didn't make it into the show. So before we actually had this thing up and running and we were making this show, I pitched Scott on an idea, podcasts, but on CDs. And we got so far as to like do a little bit of market study where I was like, well, what would it look like if I could press a button on a catalog on a website and get a episode of a podcast mailed to somebody who doesn't have access to, you know, the internet and stuff. Like grandma wants an episode of this, or the library archivist wants to get this series in their collection or whatever, but they want to have it on physical media, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We found out that nobody wanted this idea, and I've let it die on the vine. But I still occasionally have people in my life, grandparents, non-internet natives, who I want to share a podcast episode with because I know they would love that episode of some history deep dive or this interesting perspective on politics that I know that they would actually like. There's not a good way to share a podcast with someone, period, but especially if they're not really online. Recommending and sharing podcasts kind of sucks. And so I thought, what would it look like if there was a hardware solution? So I want to make some sort of little tabletop radio that the user can walk up and press play on, and I, on the other side of the town, city, country world, have queued up things for them to listen to at their leisure. So
You are creating a playlist
I have my app
for them.
Yeah, there's the apps out there where you're like, you buy a photo frame and you control the photos that are on it, but you give it to grandma. This is this, but for consumable media. So maybe it's a TV and it's got YouTube videos and you're sending it to them. Maybe it's got podcast episodes. That was my original conceit. Maybe you could even record like a little intro to each one. Hey, I really thought you'd like this because while I was listening to this, I thought about blah, 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 blah. And then you send that and that's just another thing in the queue for them to press go on, right? I don't think it'd be that hard to build. You got to make a speaker. You got to make a little like control server thing and a button that says play, right? And then they can play pause on their end and maybe you skip and you get told like, oh, she didn't like that
My
one.
grandma
actually.
always skips over my intro welcomes.
It wouldn't be a very complicated UI on their end, and then on your end, all you need is like press this one to find something in a catalog and queue it up and send it over to their player. Could also be good for kids too.
Oh yeah, put your Daft Punk on there.
How much of the content is behind paywalls, and like how do people get around that, right? You can't like YouTube playlist somebody, right?
That's the beauty of the podcast industry, where you don't have, with YouTube and with Spotify and all this, you're going to have to kind of make a deal with these content owners, the record labels, the media rights holders and stuff. But in podcast world, everything is like freely distributed unless it's an exclusive to a platform. For a little while there, like Joe Rogan was a Spotify exclusive or whatever. You got those here and there, like this one's only available on Audible. But for the most part, most shows are just, here's the link, here's an MP3 file, download it, do whatever you want with it. That's why I love podcasts so much, is it's one of the last remnants of the old internet where like anyone can come along and just host a podcast and it's just available. And you can do what you want with distribution. That's why there's 100 podcast apps and websites and directories and stuff. I love that. And this is just one other interface, but for the technologically unable. I don't know. You have a friend who's blind, who doesn't have the ability to navigate a computer very well. She can walk up and press that thing that you've queued up for her or something. I don't know.
Dude, okay.
Yeah.
Leo,
Hit me.
I have so much to spitball on this.
Pivot.
You know the Tony box?
Is that the like NFC tag thing? Yeah.
So there's this kid thing. So I guess just the spitball of that. It's a box. You put a Elsa doll on it, and it plays "Let It Go," like a song, right?
Kid music player.
Yeah, like literally, you buy action figures and kids for
got
kids.
it. Okay.
Okay, so but it's a kid, right? It's not like this would be an adult kind of like more mature experience that's like a physical media, but like let's say instead of it being like a amiibo looking doll thing, it's like literally cards.
Oh, it's not even CDs at this point. I'm just sending grandma 100 cards, each of them with like
an episode, or she taps her one episode, her card on there every morning, and it plays the latest episode of the Daily from the New York Times or whatever.
Whoa.
You could record your own voice saying, "Hey, grandma, miss you. You're the best."
DJing for grandma.
Yeah, and like she can save all these little cards in her little Rolodex, and pull them out whenever she wants. Like Merry Christmas. Like you could sing a happy birthday song to her, and if she's missing you, she can play her little card, right? Or you could be reading, a story or a book, or vice versa. Like grandma could record a story, right, that she has. Like maybe this device is also the recorder. So let's say you give her a stack of cards, and she plugs in a card and she hits record, and now she does like, "Oh, this one time when you were a little boy, I loved this, blah blah blah," right?
Yeah, totally.
Well, my impersonation. And then now she's sending you a card, and now you have that. So now everybody has a reason to have this box, because it's like your digital exchange of like kind of an audio version of a mailing card, or like instead of it written, but it's a little more authentic, a little bit more, I don't know,
just minimum features on it, because you got to have as few features as possible. With
and it's easy to take one of those cards and put
Right.
it in the mail or whatever, get it to somebody else.
Yeah, or you just get a notification on your phone because it's just a one-way sort
But then
of
we
thing.
can't sell that other person
Yeah.
a box.
well, the box, like
They have a subscription service.
Of course.
Fine.
You could probably do both, right? You could probably save, like you can have the physical media version,
Yeah.
if you want to make it special, or you have the digital version, right? Like your app connects. You can still do it for like the high tech people and all that. So yeah,
The Tomies and the Jukies of the world are like kid friendly for sure, but it does seem like adults love walking up to a jukebox and perusing a catalog and picking a thing, or
Just make it a jute box,
right.
it just flips through all the cards.
It's just a massive jukebox with a little ESP32 inside.
I meant more like there's something good about having physical things that represent digital data, right? And it feels good to like open your binder of CDs and flip through to find something, and we've lost that in the digital age. So this is a neat way to like take that song, album, podcast episode, video, YouTube video you love, and like imprint it onto a
NFC
thing.
tag.
Yeah, have an artifact for it. I don't know.
I get the same kind of feeling in that when you first mentioned it, I immediately thought of like mixing somebody a CD.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The mixtape has died.
My father-in-law gave me a Christmas gift 2 years ago of the entire Leonard Skinner best of in CD form. So he would be a good person for this.
That's
He does
great.
not like technology.
No.
That was a regift, Scott. He got that like 30 years ago, and he's like, I gotta give this to somebody.
He got it the Christmas before and said, "Oh, I don't have a CD player either." It's a thought thing. I think you could do the same kind of photo frame. There's always the photo frame things that are advertising on podcasts. Like, do you remember the Aura? Aura frames is always like, it's so easy for you to set up, and then you ship it to your loved one, and then you manage it. It's the same kind of thing. You advertise, you market toward the hip and trendy Gen Xer or millennial or Zoomer who's like actually doing the buying and configuring, and then they ship it off.
Who always needs a gift for mom and
Right.
dad.
They're hard to buy for.
They are.
You've given yourself
Always
an
have ever.
ongoing responsibility. Grandma called again. She's run out of podcast episodes. God damn it.
It was silent the whole time. Well, you had it on mute, you know. Yeah.
I'm tired of listening to Dan Carlin. Give me something else.
Oh, that'd be cool. But like, I don't know, like even audio, like video audio or something, or like, it'd be cool to have. There's like old baseball games or something you want to listen to, like maybe some like nostalgic stuff that might be more relevant to their time. It's like,
December 7th, 1941. Maybe not.
the first man on the moon.
Tear down this wall. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Want to relive those moments?
You guys remember Hit Clips? A little boombox that had like a SD card sized chip and it'd play 30 seconds of a song,
Yes.
like cereal box. This is like a late 90s, early 2000s thing.
I had those, but for like Star Wars action figures, and it'd play like a voice line from the character or something.
Whatever the minimum amount is, they won't get sued.
If you these things solve for all of your lowest possible bit rate of in-sync needs. They sounded like garbage, and they only played, like I said, about 30 seconds of a song anyway. But yeah, it seems like you could take the time to embed the actual like storage and chip stuff into these cards, but you don't have to. Just make it like a NFC thing and it pulls it down from the internet.
Oh yeah. No, the NFC thing. I mean, the CD could even have an NFC tag on it too, so if they can't figure out, you can have both, right?
Go.
Whoa. I put an NFC tag on my CD.
Can we circle back to the original idea of like mailing someone something? Because I really like the idea of like propaganda bombing someone with like 100 episodes of the Joe Rogan podcast, right? There's something really appealing to me about sending people content they don't want to hear on a CD.
I finally found my niche audience for the podcasts on CDs project.
Oh, no.
Trolls.
Yeah. The original vision for that was, I want to send this to someone. Let me go on, browse the catalog, add to cart, add to cart, add to cart, send, and then you send it off and we fulfill it. It's dirt cheap to buy blank media still in bulk. You burn it, you put it in an envelope, you send it via media mail, which is the cheapest possible USPS thing, and it counts as a thing that you can do. And for like really, really cheap, you can mail CDs with podcasts on them, but nobody wants that. So now I'm giving it to you.
But you're telling me that I have the ability to do that myself right now if I just burn enough CDs.
I mean, yeah, go for it.
Buy CDs.
You can get them on AliExpress.
I know what you guys are getting for Christmas.
A spindle of 100 blank CDRs. White elephant here.
No,
I
I'm
come.
burning every episode of this podcast onto them.
All right, Scott, I think you're up. What do you got for us?
Okay, this idea came from two parts. One, there is a shop down the street that just went up for sale. There's a lot of like random buildings that are just kind of going up for sale, like space for rent. And then two, I watched Bob Ross last night. And if you've ever tried to follow along with Bob Ross, like, hey, I am feeling artistic, I'm going to get some paints out, and I'm going to just try to copy him, you are humbled extremely quickly. And
Yep.
every time there, I'm always like, is it just because like I don't have all the right stuff? I don't have all the acrylic paints and the titanium white and all the things and the easel and blah, blah, blah. So I want to take one of Russell's idea from a while back where it was an old love corner where he's like, I want to create some cool, clever dating ideas that people can do because I'm running out of date ideas. And I want to lease a space and turn it into like a tryout studio where every month we are just constantly cycling new things. So like the first month, I'm going to have a bunch of Bob Ross easels and other things and set up and him playing on the corner. You can just go in and try that out. You could turn that into like a professional chef, or I want to do the Great British Bake Off, and I put everything in front of me and I just have this full setup on here. But we'll just constantly be cycling this. And if you got like 4 or 5 of these locations or however many, you could just keep moving the stuff around between them all.
Oh, yeah.
Going through. And then it keeps something new and going through. It can be a subscription service or just constantly blast all your old patrons on there. And there are so many random things that I have always wanted to try once, but I just don't have the setup or time or anything to get that going.
Whoa.
And that is my idea. I want to make
date zone.
Bob Ross. Yeah, a little date zone going through. And that's it. I want to get this place now next door and paint Bob Ross.
That's very clever.
For the first month.
Yes, for the first month.
Interesting.
And then the next month it's going to be like learn to do stop motion animation or
Learn to solder with your spouse.
Exactly. Woodworking. Hell. Russell's example on his was knife build or creating a knife.
Knife throwing.
Knife throwing. Maybe not a good one.
Create and throw. Here's a block of steel. Get to the target.
But I think, any form of creating or cooking or other thing. And that's it.
Dude, this sounds like the Escape Room Network or whatever. Like, have you heard of? Yeah.
No, go
you know
ahead.
about this?
What is that?
Well, I don't know. They just have conventions and like literally there's escape room networks that they share and exchange ideas. So like you might have an escape room idea, you build it, but then you can sell or trade that escape room and all their locks and all the little props to another escape room. And so now you're kind of it turned into this like trading thing. And I think they've gone into like, like that's like like for some reason the escape room network built off of that and like created their own rotation. Right.
Like I love the idea of an escape room on that too. But I always feel like if I buy a building and I put an escape room down there, my audience is only so big and it's only local, and over time people are gonna be like, we did that, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to be able to keep monetizing on that lease.
A lot of that stuff's permanent-ish, where like that's hard to refresh it.
But like I think your date this date in a month box is like kind of similar where
learn to make a bonsai tree or something. I don't know.
Like why not? Like become a botanist, like learn how to keep your plants alive, right? Awesome. I love your idea of having multiple locations and they rotate too.
Yeah. That's what sold it for me, because like one business doesn't want to have easels that are sitting untouched for 2 years. So.
No, you don't want another warehouse to store all this crap. You just want to give it to some guy in Philly or something.
Yeah, ship all these easels.
So is your business then the marketplace that connects the franchisees together instead of you operating the store?
I think so. I think you'd have to start with multiple locations initially, or you have to start with the franchise initially. It would be an upfront thing, but it wouldn't be crazy.
Open 4.
Honestly, you could just have 2 and just cycle back and forth, and then when you're ready, open a third and get a third idea and going.
How do you teach the people who are doing the task how to do the task? Is there like a person there? Is it a recording?
Nope. There is a projector and there's YouTube playing. I want this as minimal as possible, man. I want a single teenager running the whole operation who has no idea what's going on.
That may limit you on the... You probably couldn't get to build something if it involves like a hammer, right?
Well, okay, for real. Like you ever see like Masterclass or something? There's just some...
Yeah.
Just make a deal with those guys and have like, hey, I would like to project one of your classes up on here and I will provide all the stuff up for that.
Okay.
I mean, you could absolutely bring in a specialist or someone who just hangs out there.
I think that'd be cooler.
I'm just cheap.
But it's the teenager at the store who has to like troubleshoot and like answer people's questions.
The TA.
Yeah. The TA, exactly.
I mean, you could probably find local community people that are experts in cooking or experts in painting or like the closest thing to it, and you hire them for a month. And I'm sure they'd love to talk about it.
And I'm
right?
sure after going through one class and surviving it, they'd be like, oh yeah, I could absolutely teach another class of this, let alone another 100 people.
But like with the rotating model, you have to have that collective of people for each of these tasks in each geographical area.
Some economies of scale there.
Well, what if you make sure you're near a local college or something, and like you then partner with some professor that's in a similar and supplement that? Like I bet there's an art teacher out there that teaches for high school kids that could totally do this class and need supplemental income that's after school. You do that for cooking, all the basic dating. Let's say all your model is based off of like local teachers or whatever, right?
Honestly, so I used to work at a one of those old time photography places, right? And it was much more important to have someone who could was happy and enthusiastic and willing to interact with people than it was to have someone who knew how to take a good picture.
Sure.
You did not need to know how to take a good picture in order to do that. The people just had to have a good time. So I think if you found the right person, they could absolutely learn whatever it is that month's rotation is very quickly to the point that they could have people have a good time.
You just have to make sure that your chosen activities have zero liability whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly. Very low learning curve that
I
the
wanted to learn
intern-
shooting. I wanted to damn.
Yeah, you'd be selective on there, but I'm sure candle making or creating the perfect perfume blend or whatever this month could be.
Just
good.
have them sign a a waiver.
But dude, you could get there are so many different things too, the crickets or whatever. You can do arts and crafts. You could do here's the theme of the month. You could, I don't know, you could have some of the makerspace stuff in there. You have a laser engraver, right?
Did you say the crickets?
Yeah, the cricket. They called crickets or cry cuts. Cry cuts.
I don't know what you're talking about, man.
What
I'm
is the
trying.
cricket thing? The 3D.
Oh, the vinyl cutter. The vinyl
cutter.
Got it. I got it. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
There's a brand name.
Or-
Got it.
Yeah.
Some specialty
Yeah.
equipment that you can bring in.
Yeah, and then what? It's just run the equipment and draw laser engravers, right, Scott? You just run a laser engraver, you teach somebody, and then now they're just coming up with ideas or what. I guess I don't know. There seems to be overlap there. That's just super.
And you want to make it hey, we got to do this before the end of the month because we won't be able to do
That does help drive traffic, doesn't
whatever.
it? The limited time only, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you box it all up in a U-Haul and you drive it over to Nebraska and you grab whatever they had last month and you drive it to your other franchise and
Change places.
you do a loop once a month where you spend 2 days on the road and switch out everyone's easels.
I just love the rotating thing. You could be the date spot for a couple, right? If you're only doing the one thing, they go on the one date to your place. But
But it's always new and
and
exciting.
it can become their thing, their cute little thing. Their first
That's
date
right.
was there. They go there every month.
Yep.
And
That's
I mean, it's kind of great because they have to go every month. They have to go on a date every month. Whether you hate them or love them in the moment.
You could sell subscriptions. 6 months of, in the
subscription
next
service.
12 months, you get 6 hole punches on your card to do one of the things that interests you.
You could even completely blind too. Hey, we're not even going to tell you what this one is this month, or you don't even have to know. You just got to show up, and it's going to be
You have to
something
have built
fun.
a reputation. Would you go on a mystery
Yeah, that's
date
true.
today? That's a big ask.
Depends how much it is. That's
Yeah,
it.
that's the right answer.
I could risk $50, not 100 on this. You know.
The core idea is convenience for sure.
You don't even need to rotate. I bet there's even a whole set of dating apps, date making ideas that are just disposable, like bonsai trees, right? You don't need 100 pots, right? You just send home with everybody with their stuff. You don't need to keep anything. Easels, yeah, you probably need to, but that's something that you store and you maybe rotate every year or something, right?
Bonsai trimming scissors. I can't just give those away.
A U-Haul full of them.
Yeah, you can buy like those kits, like $20 for a bonsai tree, and you learn how to keep it up or whatever. But maybe I don't know. That's not. I'm not the expert on the date ideas. But
Yes, you are. You're literally the expert.
date matchmaking,
You're what?
maybe a little more. Once you're matched up, I don't know what you're gonna do.
That cadmium yellow's not going to buy itself.
All right, Anthony, what have you brought us this week?
Well, this idea comes to you once again from Twitter.
Oh boy.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Brace for
in
impact.
fact,
Yeah.
This is an idea that I've had since before my episode of the podcast aired, because it took you guys so long to put it out. No, so there's some Twitter drama that happened, right, that I made a note of. Here's the scenario, right, that inspired my idea. So an individual who has a disability, right, is ordering Uber Eats, and they live on like the third floor of some apartment, right? And the driver gets there, and he has like a broken leg or something. He can't climb the stairs to get up to the top of the apartment, right? So he physically can't deliver their food, and they can't come downstairs to get it. And, somebody tweets about this. It blows up on Twitter, obviously turns into some whole argument about, I don't know, who is in the right, who is in the wrong kind of thing, right? So my pitch is to solve for this obvious problem. A drone service that connects your gig economy delivery drivers to individuals who maybe live in apartment complexes, dorm rooms, right? Areas like these that are maybe a little bit more difficult to deliver to, that can ferry whatever good that they've purchased from one individual to the other to avoid this kind of problem.
Middleman.
A drone for a drone.
The last 100 feet.
The last 100 feet. That's a good start name.
Everybody's solving for the last mile when it comes to logistics, you know? This is the last 100 feet.
And there's a legitimate reason to have something like this, right? Because the people who use a lot of these delivery services, like they have the data on this, are disproportionately people who, struggle with physical disabilities. And the same is actually true for some of these gig economy services. More of their, like a higher percentage of their employees are people with disabilities than the general workforce, right? So
this is going to continue to be a problem.
This situation might be coming up more than we might actually be solving for something.
Yeah.
Dude, these drones could like charge in the car. They like pay, like, they're just literally a passenger, right? You roll down the window and it zooms out, zooms back in.
That's what I was going to ask you. Do you think that this drone is a retrieval robot for the person who called the service, or is it a last 100 feet sending service from the driver or delivery person? I could see either way.
I figure it'd be easier to sell to maybe the companies that are running these services than the individuals in their homes, but I don't know.
I just had this crazy dystopian image of a McDonald's branded semi truck that's just going like up and down suburbia like an ice cream truck, and there's drones flying off of it, dropping off DoorDashes on people's stores.
Oh, sure. This is how you actually eliminate the workers themselves.
Fully automated.
Whoa.
A mobile McDonald's.
McDonald's.
You can have self-driving cars, and then you have the whole thing. You know what I mean? Like, self-driving car goes to restaurant, picks up food, brings it to car goes to place, self-drives, delivers food at door, leaves.
Soon we'll have robots eating it, too.
Well, so, a lot of these, like, food places, fast food places, they don't employ delivery drivers, right? Because they don't want to have to pay all of these people and have all these extra employees. But what if they could have a drone fleet instead?
God, I'm sure they'd jump all over
They could
it.
avoid doing business with the Ubers of the world, right? Cut out that extra cost, that middleman, right? Instead, we become their middleman, selling them this product
Whoa.
that they couldn't totally make themselves and do without.
Getting the robo-taxi or human driver, bringing the drone too near them is the secret sauce, because all these startups that are thinking about drone delivery, like Travis Kalanick and Uber back in the day, were like, yeah, we don't even want to have human drivers in the next couple of years. It's all going to be robots, right? The problem with the drone idea is that they don't have the battery and capacity and stuff. So if you're driving it to the last neighborhood down the block and then sending them out, that's something I hadn't even considered.
Okay, what if like this sped up delivery? So what if you're what could you do this for UPS drivers at FedEx?
I was just thinking about the Amazon truck. The Amazon truck drives to the end of your street.
Think about the power lines.
What if what if post offices, okay? Like the mailman, he just drives down the block as fast as he can, and it just 30 drones go out to all, and then they all come back in one spot, maybe at the end of the block. Sorry, this may be a little spin of it. And then you go to each block. So like, let's say the post office just goes every block and like up and down 30 streets, and then at the end goes and picks up all these let's say, like, you know how they have those scooter ports?
Yeah.
So now you just have like, and then they just go up and they pick up all the little drone modules. And now they just delivered all the mail in 20 minutes through all these drones.
Only if there's a speaker that's blasting Ride of the Valkyries while that's happening. But yes.
How do we eliminate the driver from this equation? I really want this to put as many people out of work as possible.
Mail people!
I was going to ask the opposite. It seems increasingly likely with every year that robotic drivers are going to be... They're never going to capture the entire market, it seems like. Like, every year that goes by, we get promised, yeah, self-driving cars are totally going to be the thing in the next 5 years, and then they never are, because it's harder and harder. And we've got our Waymos of the world, but it's not it's looking more likely that there will always be somewhere for a human to be in this equation. So I'm wondering if this is a product that we manufacture and sell to the Uber driver. It's a car mount charging system with a grapple.
Oh, man.
You are an Uber Eats driver. You want to like boost your delivery rate by 30%. You put this sucker in the passenger seat. It flies for a couple minutes and does the last little trip for you. You open your window, it goes out, it brings the little bag to the porch and then comes back, and then it's doing the thing that you're describing, but it's a product you're selling the driver.
Because it makes their life easier, their work more efficient.
Yeah. They're able to then do more deliveries per route, which, I mean, they're all paid in gig economy world by the delivery, I think.
I'm sure there's going to be some person who's going to optimize that completely with a traveling salesman problem. I mean, like, I could hit these 3 and deliver to these guys with these drones so I could meet up with them later while I pick this one up.
You could really monetize this by like saying, all right, we will supplement your income for this. So it's like $1,000 drone, let's say. Every delivery, we take $3.
Yeah.
And so now...
Oh, yeah. Pays for itself over time.
Now you just
but then
get
you
it ahead of
have
time.
recurring income.
Yeah. And like now you sell it, and now they're just like, now you just created the market. So instead of buying like a $1,000 drone, it's like, oh, I press this button and now I have to give $3 for every delivery, and I have to do a minimum order or else I have to pay. Like, boom, you've just created the gadget that every Uber driver is like, oh yeah, I got that gadget. It's like the cool thing. Now it becomes like a pride thing.
Yeah. You got to include a sticker in the box for the back windshield.
That's
right.
right.
Me, I deliver with last 100 feet drones.
This doesn't have to fly either, right? It could just be a car, like one of those regular
little RC car that
R2D2.
zips up the drive. I don't know how it's going to make it to the 3rd floor of Anthony's apartment building, but
well, they got to have an elevator, right? So it's got to be able to press a button on an elevator.
Dear customer,
go,
open your window.
Yeah.
imagine stepping into an elevator and like a floating McDonald's bag on a drone like comes in with you and it's just like 3rd floor, please.
I feel like the quadcopter is a little more dangerous than those tanks. Like what are those like tank looking things? And you make a cute little face on it, and it says, "Excuse me,
Of course.
Can you help me press
Please
the elevator
reach
button?"
forward and grab the McDonald's bag from the flying death copter. Retrieve McDonald's now. Retrieve McDonald's now.
Is that a beehive outside my door? Nope, that's the delivery.
My driver must be using that stupid drone app.
At 6 p.m., the skies go dark.
Well, dear listener, if you just ordered Uber Eats and your food is being delivered by some sort of automaton, please brace for impact and tune into the next episode of our show. Thank you very much for listening. We hope you enjoyed yourself. And thank you, Anthony, for being here. This was awesome.
I will create dystopian fiction with you anytime.
There is a recurring theme, isn't there? Our website is spitball.show. There you can find links to our YouTube channel, other social media. Email us feedback, comments, ideas. We'd love to hear from you. We are a podcast at spitball.show. That's also how you can follow us on the Metaverse, such as Mastodon, where podcast is spitball.show. Our subreddit is r/spitballshow. Our intro-outro music is Swingers by Bonkers Beat Club. If you wouldn't mind, please, is there a friend in your life who's always telling you, man, I have this great idea for a sci-fi dystopian novel? Send them a link to this show. They'd love to hear from us, and I think that they would enjoy it. That's the best way for people to find out about the show. Write us a review also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever it is that you're listening to your show. New episodes coming out in 2 weeks. We will see you then.